Okay, today we'll be replacing or removing the transmission on Dodge Charger 2007. Okay, the reason we want to remove the transmission is because when you're driving, it kind of jerks, like while driving, but it shifts very nice and stuff. Um, Also, it would like switch back and forth, like when you're going like 60, but then it stopped doing that when we replaced the transmission fluid. But now it still has this like jerking, like you're going on the side of the road and you feel this like bumpy road. That's what happens. So we think it's a torque converter. So we will try to replace the torque converter first. If that does not help, then we will replace the whole transmission itself. But it's still the same job for us, but we just want to know if that's the torque converter issue or the transmission. Okay, so we're gonna start removing the exhaust pipes because the sensor right here is in the way. I mean, you can try removing the sensor, but we still want to remove the whole thing, like from over there, and we will disconnect it here and just remove the pipes. By the way, this is 2.7 liter engine, and this is how the transmission number is. We're using a kill socket and a gun to remove those bolts. Air gun. Okay, so there was like 4 nuts. This held in between. Same here. We're using kill socket to remove these. Okay, now we will lose these bolts so we can get these out. So I guess you gotta hold from the other side too, right?
No. You used they can weld.
Okay, so these bolts are welded, so you can just unscrew them from here. Okay, so we put some brake loose over here, so it's easier for us to pull them out. And they're actually welded on this side, and you have to remove them from the other side. So always put the bolts in. This way it's easier, you don't lose them, and you know where to put them back. If it's possible, always put them in. And don't forget to disconnect the sensors, exhaust sensors, or what they're called, CO2 sensors?
CO2, oxygen sensor.
Oxygen sensors.
Yeah.
Did you disconnect this one?
This could be the temperature sensor and our oxygen sensor.
It's actually connected to this one too.
No, this is the oxygen sensor. Temperature is on the top. Why do you need to record
Okay,
this?
so you need to disconnect here and here. So because we will be removing this one too. And then disconnect this one here. So we decided to leave them in, but we took them out and put them aside. So same as this one, we disconnected from the engine because the engine will be tilting. So we do not damage the exhaust. So now we will be starting to remove this one, but we need a jack, right?
We need a jack and we're gonna remove the first one.
Oh,
We're gonna remove this.
We're gonna disconnect here.
Right.
Okay.
Crankshaft.
Okay, so we will be removing just this bolt here, this one, and the third one over there. And in order for us to turn this, we will leave one of the wheels in the back, lift it up so we can spin it.
Yeah, we're gonna
and this drive shaft will actually turn.
set it to neutral
Yeah, and we will set it to neutral.
and try to spin it.
Yes, and spin it, and this way we will be
We'll
able to
access
remove
the top bolt.
that top bolt. For this procedure, we are chocking all the wheels except for one, the one we will be jacking up. Okay guys, so we set the car on neutral and we jacked up the wheel, just the wheel over here, and we got wheel chocks under all three wheels. So, and just look at this, how I can turn this and the wheel spins. See? This way I can easily remove the bolts. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this side with a wrench and use a kill socket and a air gun to remove this here. Okay, so I removed one. It looks like there's a thread lock on it, or maybe not, but it looks blue kinda. So this knot goes right from here and this as well. So let's go ahead and turn and remove the rest. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is, you can see it's already kind of loose because I use this kind of tool to put this in here like that, like this, and just gently turn it and keep separating it. Okay, so it does get stuck like right here, so you have to turn it and remove each one of these from here, and then it easily slides out. So it's like this. Okay, so now I'm gonna install this jack underneath here, and I will be removing this part right here. So I'm gonna put some wood blocks and just to hold this in place. Okay, now that I have this all installed here, and I'm adjusting the angle so I don't damage the bottom pan. So now I'm gonna put this chain around it and secure it in place so it does not fall or anything, and I'll be removing that mount. Okay, so I'm gonna slightly lift it up just a little bit, and I'm gonna start removing that mount. Okay, so for this right here, I'm using 1/2 inch socket. I'm not gonna remove it all the way just to see, so it doesn't. just lose it for now. Okay, so yeah, it does hold on this jack, so I can go ahead and completely remove it. Okay, it looks like I gotta remove 2 more bolts over here. That's the transmission mount here. Okay, so for these 2 bolts here, I'm gonna be using 15mm socket. So I'm gonna put the bolts in, so it's easier for me. Okay, so only now I was able to put this chain over the transmission itself and secured it. You don't want to make it too tight, but just enough to hold it. That's like a safety. Okay, so now we need to disconnect the torque converter from the engine. So what we're gonna do is there's like a couple of bolts over there, and this thing must come out, and this way we will see how to disconnect it. So for now I'm gonna use a 15mm socket here, and then I might use like a wrench over here and extension or something, and if not, then I will have to lift the engine up so I have more space in between here. Okay, so it was easy to remove these bolts over there, and this one too, but these over here I'm using this kind of wrench and this one to make it easier for me because they're kind of tight. Okay, so this one I was able to unscrew. I don't know if you can see it. This one over here, I was able to remove with this from this side, but the other one over here, I removed it from the other side, from here, from the back. So like this. From here. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so then we release the engine mount from both sides. here and here as well. And then we got this kind of bar over here. We're gonna jack up the engine so we can have some access over here to remove this where the torque converter is. There's like this part. So this is jacked up here, the engine, and now we release this because it's like it's not letting us to pull that out, so we are putting more wood blocks, and because the jack cannot lift anymore, it's all the way out. Okay, so we lifted this more and that side more, and now it's kind of loose and we are able to remove it. Yeah, try pulling it this way.
The hose is on the way.
So there's the torque converter that we gotta
it's
loosen. Okay, so we were able to remove from here, right from under the hoses.
That's it. Now we got access, so we can remove the torque
Can
converter.
you see the bolt?
Here, right there.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go one by one.
So we can just turn the
Turn.
transmission
Yeah.
from the back,
Maybe,
and this will turn.
No, we're gonna turn.
Or the engine.
Flywheel. Or
Flywheel.
we're gonna turn the engine
engine.
ball. We're gonna turn that main engine ball. We're gonna turn it, and that flywheel, yeah, will
spin.
turn as well. Yep.
Okay, so we were able to lose the bolt with 18mm range,
Yeah, regular range.
and because this turns, you can use this kind of tool to put in here like this
And hold it.
and hold it against the engine.
Oil pan, yeah.
And you can also turn this as well, like that, without turning from there.
Broken loose completely.
So the best way is to turn it like this, and this, it's gonna turn there. Where is it? Let's see. Okay,
We're getting there.
getting there. And you can also hold it here with your
Yeah,
hand
hold it,
as
yeah.
well, while you're losing that one.
Yep, I'm going there.
Okay. So
Get
let's
the
do
bolt.
this.
Hey, don't lose the ball.
Those are actually with a thread lock on them.
Yeah. Let's break it loose.
Okay, I'm holding here. Holding this side.
Can you go up a little? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a little more. Yeah, just like that. That's it.
Broken loose.
We got it loose. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so there were only 4 bolts that held the torque converter, so we got them loose. I mean, we actually removed them. So now we will be releasing the engine back to where it's supposed to be, and we will disconnect the transmission from the engine. We're using 18mm socket and kill socket to get that bolt over there. Right. That one. Hard to see.
Can you see it?
Okay.
Good.
Let's bring down the transmission jack. Just lower it a
A
bit
little bit down.
so we do not rip the bolts or anything like that. Okay. Okay. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so for this bolt over there, we used this one over here. We used like a short socket and braking bar to remove that one. Okay, then you can use a 15mm socket to remove those 3 bolts, and you can use a kill socket as well. For this, to remove the starter. Okay, for this I use pliers. I went like, I'm gonna show you how I've done this. Lost it. I went like this, and I grabbed this with the other end, and like that, and so I pressed, and it came off, and then I put something like in there, and I was able to get it off. But you do not want to bend this, okay? So otherwise it can be some kind of different size. So now I'm gonna be removing these bolts that hold this, I don't know what it's called, but those 2 bolts. Okay, so I got that removed, and I used 13mm socket for those bolts. Yes. And once I removed that thing, I put the bolts in, and I disconnected disconnected this one from there and the other one from there. Simply just press here and pull it. Now I'm working on those to get them removed. They're kind of sitting tight, but I'll figure this out. Okay, what are these called? Transmission cooling
lines, yes.
lines. And to remove them, you simply show the
Right here.
there's like this thing
You remove the plastic cap.
that holds.
Yeah, you remove this plastic cap that sits on there.
That sits on the top.
Yeah,
with
you
your
remove
fingers,
that, and then you remove that.
You remove
that
this,
thing.
and you can just pull them out.
Pull them out. Yep. Done.
Same to the other one.
In order to pull them out,
okay, this is how we remove it. There we go. It's not much dripping from over there.
So it was from the bottom though.
Oh, from the bottom. Just a bit. Okay, as you can see, we jacked up the engine again, so we can turn the transmission, so we can disconnect the top bolts. Okay, so I used this kind of long extension to get these bolts out from over there and over here. So I went from here all the way over there. Okay, so from the top there's the metal bracket that sits on two bolts over there, and it holds the wiring. So first you gotta remove that thing, and then there will be bolts.
So the metal bracket is attached to 2 bolts.
Yes,
You remove the nuts, then you remove the metal bracket, and then you remove the other 2 bolts and transmission holes.
so pretty much 2 more bolts.
Yeah, 2 more bolts, bro.
Okay, guys, so look at this.
It says 13 millimeter.
13 millimeter.
And this one
sockets.
says 13 millimeter.
This one does not fit, but this one fits perfectly.
Check this out. Fits perfect. None. It
And
won't
this
go
one
in.
does not fit.
Unbelievable.
That's unbelievable. So we used 14 to remove it, but now we can use this 13, which is
Unbelievable.
exactly
I can't just imagine. I can't
fits.
think of this.
So now the transmission is completely disconnected. We used from the top to put the socket in to hold it, and then we used long extensions and air gun, and we were able to remove those 2 bolts. We were able to bring it down. Don't forget to disconnect this plug here, this one right here, and there's like one more over here that's holding somewhere on top, and these actually come out together with it.
Yeah, the dipstick was the dipstick.
Yeah, for the
fuel line
dipstick.
and the ventilation line as well.
Okay, so now that's how it looks. So we just need to replace the torque converter.
Just show the whole thing.
This is how it looks. So when you connect, make sure the torque converter is all the way in, and to get those bolts in, just you spin the engine like we did before to disconnect it, and just put them in without glue at first, and just put them all in, and then you can just mark them and unscrew and put the glue on and put the back in. Guys, we have good news. We replaced the torque converter on this one, and guess what? The problem actually is gone. So yeah, I am very happy for that. So it was a torque converter issue because it was shifting good and everything, but like I told you, it had a rattle issue when driving, and when you're driving like 60 miles per hour or 40 miles. Now it actually was happening when you drove like 40 miles an hour. You could hear the rattling noise and like kind of like jerking and shaking and stuff like that. So the problem is gone, and also when you go like 60 miles per hour, it would kind of make this like it was shifting back and forth, something like that, but it wasn't actually shifting. But that's the torque converter issue thing. So guys, if this video was helpful, like and subscribe to my channel, and see you next video.